Does my Minnesota LLC really need to have an annual meeting? Today, let's look at a way that we can make your Minnesota LLC stronger by using this tactic, an annual meeting, even when it's not required by the state. My name is Andrew Ayers. I'm a business law and estate planning attorney, and annual meetings are something that many LLCs, especially a single member LLC in Minnesota, don't ever get around to. They may seem unnecessary to many people, and depending upon what state you're in, they may not even be required. So Minnesota does not require an annual meeting for the LLC, but by skipping it, you can be missing some opportunities to protect your business. So a lot of my clients will ask, why does this even matter? If it's not required to have an annual meeting for my LLC, why would I even bother doing it? Well, the first thing we can look at is compliance. So the annual meeting actually helps you protect your LLC's limited liability. So if your company ever gets sued in court and the other party will normally say that your LLC is not a real company, all you're doing is trying to hide behind it, they're going to pierce the corporate veil. Well, we can show the judge that you have an operating agreement, that you're having annual meetings, that it's a properly run business. So these annual meetings and the minutes that go with them are a great indication to any judge who's looking at your case that you have a legitimate LLC worthy of the limited liability protection that you set it up for. Second, these annual meetings can give clarity so we can document your decisions, the roles in the company, and the future goals of the company. They don't have to be a big situation where you rent out a ballroom and have a bunch of people in the room. Especially with a single member LLC, we can often do the annual meeting by just documenting the major decisions, the roles of the people who work in the business, and other goals. So by doing this documentation, we're again furthering the clarity that this is a limited liability company that is worthy of protection that you set it up for. And the third reason it matters is transparency. So especially when we have more than one member, it's going to keep the other members informed and all aligned on the future of the business by having these meetings. It's an opportunity for everybody to be heard. Maybe we have one member who has differing goals for the future of the LLC. So we want to make sure that they are heard and that everybody can discuss what we do going forward. So how do we do an annual meeting? So the annual meeting is essentially going to be a checkpoint for your LLC. And what we want to do is create that meeting, and we're going to look first at the past year. So let's look at our progress, let's look at our finances, let's look at lessons we learned from the year. After we've looked at the past, let's look forward. So let's do some planning. Do we have KPIs? These are important markers for our business, some information we need to know. Do we have market movers? Do we have growth strategies? What kind of information do we need for the upcoming year for we're doing our planning? And then the third piece of this annual meeting is let's vote on big decisions. Are we taking on corporate financing? Are we changing the name? Are we moving our headquarters? If there's big decisions that need to be made, these annual meetings are the place to do it. Even if you're a single member LLC, you still want to do this annual meeting so you are audit ready and you're legally ready to go in the case of a lawsuit. So we can say that, for example, the LLC chose to enter into this contract with your biggest supplier, and now that you're being sued for a breach of that contract, you're not personally liable because the company is the one who entered into that contract. Next, we're going to look at the compliance and protection aspects of your annual meeting. So by keeping these records and making sure that we're following through the annual meeting, we're protecting your personal assets by keeping the liability at the level of the LLC. So to do that as part of our meeting, we want to first keep meeting minutes. So if it's just you, we want to have just a typed out document that is the meeting minutes of everything you theoretically discussed with yourself. You don't have to say it out loud, but we're going to use these minutes to show that you are running your LLC as a legitimate entity. So big companies like Apple, like Microsoft, they all have annual meetings and there's somebody there in the corner taking down everything that's said in all the minutes. You can do the same even for your single member LLC. And so if you're dealing with an audit by the government for some reason, or if you're in a lawsuit, your records can actually be shown. These meeting minutes can be shown to help prove your case and once again protect that liability for your company. When we're looking at big decisions for your LLC, the annual meeting is a great place to do it. So if we're going to enter a new market, if we're going to amend the operating agreement, if we're adding new members, these are big, important decisions. Maybe we're switching to a different bank and we have future plans. By documenting these key decisions, we're able to show that the LLC made these paths forward. Now, if you're working with a bank for the first time, they will often have you provide them either with an annual meeting minute or a corporate resolution showing that you've made this key decision to use Wells Fargo or US Bank or Citibank to be your bank. So if down the road you want to change from Citibank to Wells Fargo, Then you can have an annual meeting minute that shows you had this discussion amongst the members, or you did it yourself if it's a single member LLC, and that you're now moving your business to a new bank. If we have a multi-member LLC, the importance of the annual meeting really comes down to transparency, and that transparency equates to trust amongst the members. So at the annual meeting, we'll look at the financial health of the LLC so we know how well it's doing and where we're looking to go in the future. If we're going to make some big moves, we're going to change banks, change operating agreement, whatever big changes we're making, by having the annual meeting, all of the LLC members can participate and understand where the business is going. And this also means that misunderstandings won't derail the progress of the business. Now, if you're in a single member LLC, you may be wondering why I have to go through any of this. What would that annual meeting even do for me? Well, the first thing they do is they help you reflect and strategize. So for my personal business, what I like to do once a quarter is actually go to a place where I don't have Wi-Fi, where I don't have access to the internet, and I bring a little notebook and plan out that next quarter. And then if we're getting near the end of the year, I like to then plan out the next year as well. So by using the annual meeting, you're essentially formalizing that planning process. And again, it doesn't have to involve a bunch of people. If you're a single member LLC, it could just be you doing an annual planning meeting for your business. So hopefully you can see that the annual meeting is not just a box that you need to check. It's a secret weapon for your LLC to make sure that you're complying and collaborating and protecting that personal liability. If you like this video, or if you have more questions about an annual meeting for your LLC, you can go to my website, 𝙃𝙀𝙍𝙀𝙀. There's a red legal strategy session button on the top. Click that and you'll be taken to my personal scheduling page. We could set up a legal strategy session. It's a 15 or 20-minute free phone call to go over where you and your Minnesota LLC are in this annual meeting process. If you like this video, you can hit the like or thumbs up button below. You can head over to YouTube or 𝙃𝙀𝙍𝙀𝙀.com to subscribe for future episodes. And so if you're running an LLC, I encourage you to set a date, stick to it, and trust me, your LLC will thank you down the road for making sure you have an annual meeting.